stream, what the F is going on with the markets? Well, we know what's going on. Trump and his 90-day pause of the tariffs has, created real bounce back in the indices and sent the Forex markets crazy, right? So that's what we're going to look at to start with, guys, right? We're going to look at how this what Trump said yesterday and this 90-day pause on tariffs, how that has impacted the market. So we're going to take a look at that. We're also going to take a look at a couple of trades. One that I took earlier, we took some profit, and one that I'm currently in. All right, so we'll take a look at that as well. We also have important news coming out. We have quite a fun-packed show, right? We've got CPI figures. Okay, and we've got some employment figures all coming out at 1:30. And this could help us understand the direction of the dollar because it's not clear, right? And we'll look at that as well. What else are we going to look at? We are also going to take as many of your questions as possible, guys, right? So don't be shy. Come say hello, leave a question, and it can be to do with anything about trading. Maybe it's a currency pair you're looking at. Maybe you need help with something in trading. Whatever it might be, feel free to ask as many questions as you can. All right, so that is the plan of attack. But let's just start with this Trump 90-day pause on tariffs, right? And let's take a quick look at the indices, right? Because it's all about the indices, right? And if we just go to the day chart, just look at that reaction that we got, right? We know the indices were all plummeting down. We were like, this is the end of the world, right? Trump opens his mouth and we're going to do a 90-day pause on tariffs. This is obviously positive for investors and gives them confidence, and bang, bang, price shoots right back up. Now, firstly, what's interesting is we are literally at a resistance level. So it'll be interesting to, it'll be interesting to see how price reacts at this level. And secondly, it's worth pointing out, this is the NASDAQ. It's the same for the S&P, right? But literally at previous, what was support becomes resistance, and the moving average 20, right? But secondly, what's also very important to point out, it's not, the tariffs aren't going away, right? So everyone's like, woohoo, 90-day pause on tariffs. Let's buy the indices. And now the indices and stocks represent absolute value, right? Totally get it. But, let's not forget these tariffs are, just being paused. And, between America and China, they're still battling it out. And I'm sure they will be for many months, right? That hasn't been paused. So don't think all of this turbulence, all of this volatility, all of this downward momentum on the S&Ps and indices in general has gone away. It's just been paused, right? So that was the announcement. Now, if you look at any, I'm going to close my eyes, right? I'm going to close my eyes and just pick a pair, right? This is New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Now, what you knew changed, right? So if you look at New Zealand dollar, US dollar, we was in this downtrend, right? We're just getting bearish, bearish, bearish. And then yesterday's news, it gave some, strength to some pairs, weakness to others, right? You can see that we had some New Zealand dollar strength, right? Now, all of a sudden, I don't want to sell that, right? It's too bullish. Let's take a look at a yen pair, right? Because obviously yen pairs were gaining strength, like yen in general was gaining strength because it's flight to safety, right? And the indices were dropping. And then, what you thought you knew, downtrends, kapow, right? Look at that bullish candle, right? So this even suggests, we can trade the retrace, right? Potentially back up to maybe a level here or moving average 20. This is what it's telling me, trade the retrace. If you take a look at, Euro Aussie dollar, right? Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar got some strength off the back of that. because typically speaking as well, with Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar, when it's risk on, right, and the indices are doing well, Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar do okay, right? But when it's risk off, Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar do badly, right? And it was very much risk off, right? Aussie dollar was very weak. If we look at any Aussie dollar pair, it's very weak. And then bang, right? Investors' confidence is back. Okay. Now, again, with any pair you pick, you were like, right, we're in an uptrend, Tom. I'm looking to buy this. This is euro against Aussie dollar, right? And yeah, you would. But now, look at that. Do you want to buy that candle? No, right? If anything, you want to trade the retrace down to a level like this. And this is exactly what has been the catalyst for my trades today, right? So if we look at my trades for today, okay, now let's start first of all with Euro Swiss franc. Now, let's go back a day, right? Because you can't include today's candle, right? You're probably thinking, Tom, you can't be buying that. But we don't have this information at the start of the day, right? What has happened to my back to the future button? Why is it not working? There you go, guys. Live stream, anything can happen. Why is my back to the future button not working? There we go. It's working now. So this was a prime example of trading the retrace, right? Now, as we know, right, Euro Swiss franc downtrend, yeah, because it was Swiss franc strength, right, which is a flight to safety like yen. And then literally Trump's announcement, we had a big bullish candle, and that is Swiss franc weakness, right? In the space of a day, it's changed, right? And then on the back of that, all I'm saying to myself, right, is it's a very, in and out trade, right? All I'm saying to myself is, if price retraces, can I get back up to these daily highs? That's all I'm looking to do, right? And then if we go down to the H4, and let's go back to the start of the day, right? So this is, the last candle of the previous day, right? So I come in the morning and all I say to myself, if I see like a bullish candle, something looks like this, right, I will just put my stop loss below here and take it back up to this 94,000 level. Yeah, because you can see there's a level through there. And that's all I did, right? So we played the next candle along. That was bullish enough for me because it bounced off of this, right? You also have to bear in mind, guys, we had a structure break, right? That is the last lower low on the H4. And then Trump happened, as he usually does, the don't know what to call him. If you're on the right side of one of his comments, right, sometimes your trades will fly off and you'll be like, I love Trump. But if you're on the wrong side of one of Trump's, speeches or him coming out and saying something, then you may not like him, right? But this was bouncing off of that last high, right? What was once resistance becomes support. Yeah, saw this candle, right? I started buying. I put my stop below here and I took profit back up here. All right, and that was it, guys. That's all I did. A very impromptu trade. And if we play it along, you can see, right? Bang, come up, hit target. And now it's been shooting down ever since, right? I'm also going to show you. So I took profit there and we did let 10% run. But as soon as I saw this, I closed the remaining 10%, right? Pretty much break even, okay? And now, guys, I've entered exactly the same trade, right? But this time on Euro Yen, okay? And if we go to the day chart, right, all we're seeing is a very bullish daily candle, right, on the back of what Trump said. Still think there's room up to here, right? That dotted line, the alarm is my target, right? And then all I'm looking for in the H4 is a bullish candle, right, with H4 structure, right? You can see here we was in a downtrend, and then bang, we're in an uptrend. And basically, guys, we saw this bullish candle. I got a little bit of a retrace, right? I started buying in here. My stop is below here, and I'm looking to take price back up to there, right? Identical trade to Euro Swiss franc. Yeah, but I was already, I've already taken profit on the Euro Swiss franc trade. So therefore, I could enter this trade because this is identical, right? Euro against a safe haven, euro against yen or euro against Swiss franc, right? Highly correlated. Okay. So we'll see, right? We'll see how this plays out. I'm looking just to take profit back up to here. So there you go, guys. And as always, right, you can see all of my trades literally here. So there's the Euro Swiss franc trade. This is the VIP Discord. You can see we hit TP, right? And this is the Euro Yen trade I am in. Okay, so we've literally bought that as well. So guys, yeah, if you want to see all of my trades and take my trades, then please come join our VIP Discord channel. This is where all my trades are kept. So there you go, guys. That is me. That is what I am doing. But what the hell are you doing? That is the important thing. Let me have a drink of water and say hello to everyone. And guys, before I say hello to everyone, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash that like button. Right, live chat time. Who the hell is in the house? Brett, how are you, mate? Jude, Tony, Colin, how are you, mate? Niraj, Luigi, Leslie, CJ, how are you, CJ? Okay, right, so we're all in the house. Let's take a look at a few of the comments. Colin, big news coming out. Yes, very much so, because US dollar, right? It's a funny old thing, right? Because Euro US dollar, right? If we go to the day chart, that is telling me sellers are in control. And then look at this daily candle, right? Pound US dollar. I think this is at a really nice level for selling, right? It really is. We shall see if we get a reaction there. Let's look at Aussie dollar, US dollar, right? This has been shooting back up. So generally speaking, we are seeing a bit of US dollar weakness, right? We had the Fed meeting minutes yesterday as well, and we had Trump's announcement, and it's led to US dollar weakness, right? We can see that in the markets. Now, this CPI figure coming out, right, is big, right? It's inflation. This could really will have an impact on the US dollar, right? How extreme that reaction is, we shall see. But someone please remind me that we've got this coming out at 1:30, right? And we will play Guess the News game. I know, very exciting. So generally speaking, US dollar weakness. Let's see what that CPI does. We'll take a look at Euro US dollar in more detail, Brett. No problem there. Niraj wants to look at Euro Aussie dollar as well. Okay, we'll take a look at both of those. What else? Aussie dollar, US dollar. Okay, we'll take a look at all of the US dollar pairs. CJ, afternoon, Tom. My trades are like the pirates of the Caribbean with these effing markets. Yeah. They're like the sea of the pirate ship the pirate ship is on. Terrible analogy. But it's like that, right? It's like, well, that's strong, bang, it's not. Oh, that's strong, bang, it's not. Right? Probably the worst analogy I've done yet. CJ, yours was a better analogy. Okay. All right. So what else are we looking at? Sorry, guys, I was just looking at a few more comments. Right. Let's start with Euro US dollar and US dollar pairs in general, right? Because again, right, if you look at the weekly chart, let's do a top-down approach, right? Euro US dollar, right, has held on to this support, this resistance level. And look at that wick, right? I would say that wick alone would suggest some US dollar strength, right? But we're not just going to trade on one wick, right? We need more information, right? And very overextended up here. Yeah, look what a moving average 20 is, right? Now, if we go back to the day chart, okay, we're still in an uptrend, right? Price did start to break down here. And I remember we took some Euro US dollar sells, but ever since then, it's built back up. And this is where we're at. So we're in an uptrend with Euro US dollar. On the day chart, things are not overextended, but on the weekly chart, they definitely are, right? I just showed you that. But I don't want to buy Euro US dollar because of that candle. Right? Yeah, you know, I don't want to buy into that candle. Yeah, it come back to the highs and had a huge sell-off. Right? I know it was news driven and Trump driven and Fed driven, but even still, right, we had a huge sell-off. So, and now we have this candle, right? So it's just a bloody mess. Is the Euro US dollar. That's how I would describe it, right? I don't want to buy that chart and I don't want to sell it, right? It's just a mess right now. So maybe today with this CPI data, we might get a clearer picture of the US dollar and specifically the Euro US dollar. But yeah, bloody mess that. I mean, let's go down to the H4. I mean, even the H4, right? I would say, okay, it was in this downtrend, right? These lows held. Bang. We're now in an uptrend, right? But we're at these highs here, right? So let's see how price reacts in here. But yeah, I would stay away from Euro US dollar. Aussie dollar US dollar, right? A day ago, because if we go to the weekly chart, right, again, you know, you have to ignore this candle. Right, good. My Back to the Future button is working. But if you look at this big bearish candle, right, on the weekly, right, bang, Aussie dollar US dollar is a sell. Okay, we're in a downtrend, big bearish candle. I want to retrace and then I come lower. If we go to the day chart, it's the same. Right, now let's come back into real time. So we've got the retrace, right? Price is in a downtrend. It still is on the daily, right? Now price is in a downtrend and we've got the retrace to a really nice level. But as you know, right, a lot of the candles yesterday are just untradeable, right? I don't want to sell that. That big bullish candle, I just don't want to sell. But because of trend and structure, I want to sell Aussie dollar, US dollar. Now, what will be really interesting is what happens in here or even the moving average 20, right? This vicinity, okay? If we get, you know, a big rejection candle, something like this, then okay, we've got the weekly trend that I just showed you. That's still in a downtrend. And then if we get a big daily bearish candle that tells me sellers are back in control, I will still sell this, right? And that means US dollar strength, right? So, yeah, I've never seen the US dollar so all over the place across the US dollar majors. Like Euro US dollars in an uptrend, you want to buy it. Aussie dollar US dollars in a downtrend, you want to sell it. Right? It's really broken, right? Everything's broken, right? Welcome to Trump, baby. Yeah, so there you go. If you look at the H4, yeah, I'm sure it's broken up to the upside. But if we start seeing, right, so here we go. If we start seeing this kind of action and then we get a breakdown, right, I think it's a good sell trade for Aussie dollar, US dollar. So there you go. There's euro and US dollar. So nicely, right? Niraj wants to look at euro Aussie dollar. So if you think about that for a minute, right? Euro US dollar, which I just showed you, is in an uptrend, right? Showed you that. So generally speaking, we want to buy it. And Aussie dollar, US dollar is in a downtrend. So we want to sell it. So if you think about that, we should want to buy euro Aussie dollar. But look at this candle, right? Look at that daily candle. Now, ultimately, we do want to buy euro US dollar. Actually, let's start with the weekly chart, right? You know, yeah, we still, I mean, 185,000 is a big psychological level, and we are very overextended, right, on the weekly chart, right? So this could be the potential start of a bit of a sell-off, but ultimately, right, we are in a uptrend, and any retrace would be deemed a good area for buying, right? And that's what we're seeing on the weekly chart. If we go to the daily chart, it's the same, right? We've had this sort of ranging, well, not ranging, but then bang, right? Bang, euro strength. We know euro's been strong, but we had a big sell-off yesterday. But, you know, again, I don't want to buy euro Aussie dollar today because of this big bearish candle. And if anything, like I've been saying, I would trade the retrace. But then once price comes down to here, right, euro Aussie dollar is a good buy trade back up to these highs. So let's see if we've got a retrace trade. Let's see if we can do this on the H4, right? And you know the answer is yes, right? We've broken H4 structure, bang, right? Broken all of these lows in here, clearly. We do have a bullish candle, so this suggests to me that price may want to retrace a little bit further. And then we've got the moving average 20. It probably aligns with a nice fib level, but let's just check that. Right, there you go. Right, so somewhere in here could be a really nice entry to start selling euro Aussie dollar. Okay. To trade the retrace potentially all the way down to here, then we're looking for buys. All right. So yeah, interesting. Yeah, the combination of all three of those currencies and how they've, you know, how it manifests on the euro Aussie dollar chart itself. When I say interesting, I find that sort of thing interesting. You're probably thinking, Tom, it's not that interesting. It is. It's bloody interesting. It's trading. It's cross correlations between currency pairs. It's stuff you must grasp and understand. Guys, right, let me have a quick drink of water because I do a bloody lot of talking. And guys, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash the like button. If you haven't already, please come join our trading community, right? We've got the free Discord where you can talk to like-minded traders, share knowledge, share ideas, talk about football if you want to. So come join our free Discord. Also, guys, if you want access to all of our premium trading education, which includes the complete Simply Forex trading course, the VIP Discord channel, and the mentorship program where I coach you one-on-one. If you are interested in any of those things, please go check out our website, www.simply-forex.com. And also, guys, right now, today's live stream is brought to you by Blueberry Funded. So if you're looking for a prop firm right now, backed by a leading broker, Blueberry Markets, then look no further, guys. And we can give you 20% off right now if you use the code above my head, Simply20. So please use our link, guys. Please use our code, and you'll get 20% off any funded challenge right now. Losing my voice. CJ, you're very kind. That was a fab analogy. Thank you. Some of my analogies we're not too sure about. It's like I've been drinking neat vodka, to be honest. So we've looked at Aussie dollar, US dollar, Euro Aussie dollar. What else, guys? We've got news in 5 minutes, so we'll take a look at that. Hey, Max B. Hey, Tom, market is crazy. Swiss franc strength while dropping yesterday. Nothing changed yet from yesterday's news. Yeah, an interesting one is Swiss franc and yen, right? Because Euro Swiss franc, I know we made some quick profits in here, but ever since that, it's been dropping like a stone, right? Now, you would think yen would follow suit. I hope it doesn't, because I'm in a euro yen buy. But you would think euro yen would be following suit, right? Yen is a flight to safety. But it's not. The opposite is happening. So even this correlation, this relationship with Swiss franc and yen both being safe havens, that's bloody broken as well. Just all broke, guys. It all needs, in the long term, will Trump be proven right? Will, we have this big market correction, which we've needed, right? We used to have cyclical drops in the indices, right? Cyclical recessions, right? The market used to go up, it'll drop down during a recession, it goes back up, it drops down, it goes back up. But it feels like the world as it is now, nobody wants to talk of recession, and everyone just wants to keep pumping that share price up, right? That is the sole job of any, board, right? And that cyclical drop hasn't happened. COVID, it dropped, but that was for a pandemic, right? Don't even like saying the word COVID. But we haven't had that recession or that drop, right? We really haven't. So I think the market is also having this huge correction that it's needed for quite some time. So, will this ultimately put the world's economies back onto a sort of back to a fair pricing, right? Because everything was so extended, overpriced. And will Trump's measures, what he's doing, will it slow down global growth, global trade? I think it will, and it will become more local trade, right? Which can only be good for the planet in some respects, right? There'll be less travel and stuff like that. These are the sort of things I think about. And also, every country is in mass debt, right? And what Trump's trying to do is just this joke that every country, every government can just, don't worry, we'll just create more debt. Don't worry. Ultimately is bad for the people of that country, right? The UK is in trillions of debt. The US is in trillions of debt, right? Will Trump start clearing all that up and reducing this massive, silly debt, right? So interesting times anyway. I've never been so fundamental, macroeconomic and geopolitical in all of my life. Normally, I look at trend, and I still look at trend, structure, candlesticks, support and resistance, value, moving average 20. But fundamental has just creeped in, right? All this noise has creeped in a bit. You just can't help it, right? Unless I go and live under a stone. A nice stone, we'll pick a nice stone. But yeah, I might just go and trade from a desert island somewhere. As long as we've got a bit of internet, we'll be all right. Right, what else are we looking at, guys? I'm prattling on and news has just come out. Right, let's look at Euro US dollar. Let's play guess the news game. here we go. It's literally just come out, CPI and employment data. I am going to suggest they were worse than expected because we are seeing euro strength. Let's take a quick look at Aussie dollar, US dollar. We are seeing US dollar strength. US dollar weakness, Aussie dollar strength. Let's have a look at pound US dollar. We are seeing US dollar weakness. So Sherlock Holmes here is going to predict that the news was worse than expected, generally, right? Some were as expected, but a couple were worse than expected. Let's take a look. See, Sherlock Holmes, right? I'm only joking, guys, right? It was obvious, right? But, you know, the employment data was pretty good, right? But inflation, it's a new one. Inflation screwed, right? And this is bad for the US dollar, right? And this is why we are seeing currently this US dollar weakness, right? You know, when news comes out, guys, I'm never going to jump in any trade, right? You know, especially not a US dollar major. You know, just let the dust settle, right? Sometimes you see these initial push-ups and then you see a candle like that. And you're like, I wish I didn't get in that trade, right? So always let the dust settle after news, right? And if you still have a setup, great, take it. But that news was predominantly bad for the US dollar. And obviously, you know, people keep talking about how these tariffs will be bad for the consumer and inflation. But again, nobody knows. Is everyone just predicting the future again, right? All these analysts predict the future and get it wrong all the time, right? You know, just go back to trading what you see on your charts, right? That will not steer you wrong, right? Trying to second guess what's going to happen with inflation will send you mad. And you don't want to go mad. Not yet. Wait until you're at least, you know, 75 or something. Okay. And guys, yeah, please don't forget, please ask as many questions as you like about trading. Please pick my brain. We've got another 15 minutes or so left. Let's take a quick look at my euro yen trade. Okay, this is good. This is what we want to see. And what we'll also do now, guys, is we basically have a new H4 candle forming, right? Like we've got 30 minutes, okay? And it will be interesting to see how the H4 candle finishes, right? But euro yen, if it finishes like that, I would suggest is a good buy trade, right? Unless Trump opens his mouth and says tariffs are back on, and then yen does that, right? You know, it's genuinely something you need to be concerned with, right? But you can't trade in fear. But, you know, I was nicely in a euro yen sell trade, right? Yesterday, I started selling in here, right? And I was just looking to take price potentially back down to this level in here, right? Stop loss above here. And things were going nicely, right? Trump opens his mouth, right? And it hits stop loss. Fortunately, I did actually take a bit of profit down here, right? Just because it kept stuttering at this last low. So I did manage to take some profit off that trade. But then price just shot up and stopped us out, right? Now, you know, we didn't like Trump yesterday, but, you know, we'll see what happens today. But all I'm doing, guys, is just, you know, following H4 structure back up to the potential high, right? What else was I looking at? So I was, you know, looking at potentially like euro pound sells. Okay, but nothing's telling us to sell this yet. And when I say euro pound sells, just because of the hugely bearish candle, right? So that's all I've been looking to do today is trade some of those super bullish or super bearish candles. Euro pound is one of them, right? But all I'll do is wait for a bearish H4 candle. If it doesn't happen, I don't have a trade. Simple as that, right? There are some interesting yen pairs, right? You know, like Aussie dollar yen, Canadian dollar yen. Canadian dollar yen's interesting, right? Because we've clearly broken H4 structure. We're all the way back down to the moving average 20, right? It may not be this H4 candle, it might be the next one. But if we get a nice ping off this level, I think potentially we have a nice buy trade back up to these highs with CAD yen, right? Start buying in here, stop loss below here, right? Nice trade. But, you know, we need that candle. We need a candle to show us buyers are back in control, right? So yeah, some of those yen pairs are still interesting. Some of these euro pairs, right, are interesting because, again, if you look at the daily chart, huge, bloody big bearish red candle, right? But H4, right, I need to see a bit of a retrace or even here, right? Moving average 20 or there, right? I would consider selling, but I would need to see like a wick of some kind, like a bearish candle. And then I can think we can start selling euro, New Zealand dollar as well. Right. So yeah, those big bearish daily candles are all over the show, right? Euro, New Zealand dollar, you look at any yen pair, there's pound yen, right? Big bullish candle. Can we start just taking it back up to the highs? Right. I'm not trying to do anything too, you know, out of this world because of the way the market is at the moment. I'm just looking to take price back up to there, like I am with euro yen. But let's see, right? Let's see if we get a setup. What else was we looking at? Let's take a quick look at oil, actually, because oil was an interesting one, right? You know, we all thought, right, you know, to fill our cars will now be nothing, right? Gas will be free, petrol will be free, but look at that candle, right? It just shook up. It shook up every single market. It shook up commodities. It shook up oil, shook up precious metals, shook up indices, shook up the Forex pairs. It shook up everything, right? But oil, right? Look at that for a potential, you know, room to move into back up to this level, right? Massively oversold off, overextended, nice big bullish candle. Let's take oil higher, right? If we look at the H4 again, right? Because we're against trend on the daily, all I'll be looking to do is perhaps look for a bullish candle around the moving average 20 and take price back up to these highs and leave some profit to run potentially. So there's a lot of these retrace against trend opportunities, right? So yeah, that's what we're looking at, guys. I'm just going to go back to euro yen. Okay, looking all right. That's the sort of candle we want to see. Trump, please shut your mouth for at least an afternoon. We should be okay. Right, what else are we looking at? Yeah, CJ, I'm shaking in my boots. Now we are in the New York session. Yeah, it's almost when the New York session comes, you're like that, just peering one eye out, going, is Trump speaking? What's Trump going to say? It is a little bit like that at the moment. But, you know, like I said, you can't trade in fear, right? There's always something going on, right? This is quite extreme, right, because of Trump. But there's always something going on, right? So you have to just trade without fear, trade your setup, and stick with your plan, right? Nothing changes. You keep doing the same thing, and you know, take advantage of the markets, right? But yeah, a little bit like this. Brett, euro pound. So yeah, euro pound, Brett. I like euro pound sells, right? If we go back to euro pound, if we started seeing a bearish, this is the H4. If we started seeing bearish reaction in here, you know, perhaps not. It probably won't be this candle, right? Because we've got 20 minutes left. But maybe the next candle, I think we could sell euro pound back down to here. Why do I like euro pound? Because of the weekly level, right? You can see this level through here, right, has proven to be a pretty good level, right? And again, like with a lot of these currency pairs, super overextended. Look at the moving average 20, right? It's crazy overextended. So overextended so these are the reasons why. Overextended, there's lots of, we're at a good resistance level on the weekly. If we drop down to the day chart, we have had a humongously bearish candle, right? And we've got a nice amount of room to move into before we even hit the next piece of support on this pair, right? So yeah, I like euro pound sells. The only thing I would say is we haven't quite had a H4 break, right? If you look at that chart, yeah, if we follow structure, okay, we are at the last H4 low, right? Could we start to see a head and shoulders pattern, right? We get a reaction here, price comes down, we break that level and we continue on, right? That would be a classic shoulder, head and shoulders pattern, right? So it'd be interesting to see what price does here. And I always get the urge to seeing head, shoulders, knees, and toes when I see a head and shoulders pattern. So there you go. Yeah, but like euro pound sells because of that daily candle. Raymond, hi Tom, what are your thoughts about ICT concepts? Do you really want to know, Raymond? So any of this smart money concepts, ICT concepts, it's just a load of overcomplicated jargon, right? It's just making a few traders or people sound, you know, like they know the latest ICT stuff or, you know, smart money concepts. Like all their trading is trend and structure, support and resistance, right? They might call it fair value gaps. They might call it what else? That sort of other terminology they use. You know, supply and demand instead of support and resistance. Order blocks. I hear that phrase thrown around a lot. But all this means is where will the market react, right? Whatever term you use for it is irrelevant. You just need to know where the market could react, right? Whether you call it supply and demand, support and resistance, a fair value gap, an order block area, an area of large volume, right? It's all just crap. It's just where could the market react? And the market tells you that. It reacts at lows, right? It reacts at support and resistance, right? It reacts at dynamic support and resistance, right? Simple as that, right? Don't over confuse it. So yeah, just focus on those things: support and resistance, trend and structure, read the candlesticks, this concept of value, and that's all you need to know, right? The skill comes in when you do this across multiple time frames, right? So you build up a picture by looking at weekly, daily, H4, even H1, right? But don't overcomplicate it. If it's in an uptrend, buy it, and then use the lower time frames to, you know, pinpoint a good area to buy it. Right? It's as simple as that. Okay. Yeah. I am a nuts and bolts trader. Good. That's what you want to be. Proper nuts and bolts. Trade with trend. There's support. Trade it. Very diplomatic answer. Yes. All right, guys. Yeah, and look, yeah, you hear things like the Humpty Dumpty levels. There was a pattern somebody was talking about the other day. It was called the Quasimodo pattern. I was like, my God, what is this drivel? Right, it's just nonsense. Please don't listen to people who talk about the Quasimodo. please. All right, guys. So yeah, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button and smash the like button. Please come join our trading community, join our free Discord channel. The link is below. Also, guys, if you want access to all of our premium trading education, please check out our website, www.simply-forex.com. And also right now, guys, if you want 20% off any funded challenge right now with Blueberry Funded, our sponsor, then please use the code and the link provided. Guys, I'm going to love you and leave you. Have a great trading day. Let's hope Trump doesn't open his mouth, and I'll see you later. The editor's not here, guys, so bear with me. I will have to do this myself. Here we go. End stream.